Okay, so few years back, a statement was coined, and this statement was mainly directed towards software developers. And the statement was becoming a 10x developer or 10x software engineer. When I heard this statement the first time, I was a bit amused. You know, I was happy that they are talking about becoming a 10x developer. They are not talking about becoming a 10x manager or, for that matter, any other roles within the software industry or software development organizations. So, if you are a software developer or a software engineer out there, be happy. Your skills, your intelligence is in demand, and that's why people want someone to become a 10x developer. Now, before one can become a 10x, one need to define the meaning of 1x. If you know 1x, you can know 10x, right? But it turns out that there was no universal definition of x. It also turns out that becoming a 10x means x is equal to us, the individuals, you and me, right? Whatever we are today, we need to be 10x better. And that was the general definition going around. Now, becoming a 10x was never about knowing, it's all about doing. It doesn't matter that if you know 10 programming languages, you become 10x, and the person knows one programming language is 1x. No, it's all about your outcome and output, right? How much things you can create, and can you create things 10x faster? So that was the total idea behind a 10x developer. But when I tried to look into myself and thought of making myself more than 1x, now let me be honest about it. Whenever I do any work, I try to be the best I can. Okay. So if I have to go from 1x to 1.1 or 1.5 or 2, it will take a hell lot of effort for me to do that. And even if I do the best of myself, I can be 1.5x to 2x, right? That's my limit. And that's, I believe, everyone's limit. So I didn't like this whole idea of so called 10x. It didn't make any sense to me. But last year, something changed. With the availability of generative AIs and large language models, we do have an opportunity of becoming more than 1x. It may be 1.1 to 2 to 5 to even 10x software developer by making generative AIs our friends. Now, the talk of the town is that generative AIs will become intelligent and they are going to write code as good as uh, an intelligent human could be. With due respect to all those individuals, maybe you are not writing code, maybe you are not solving a problem. Believe me, it's still too far fetched to think that the logic and the best way to solve a particular problem can be, done entirely by generative AIs. Still not the case. Okay, because I am writing the code, I know. But I can make myself faster by using those generative AIs. I was recently solving a problem, and when I'm stuck into some particular problem space, like, if I'm working in a language and I don't know how this particular thing can be done in this particular language and what are the possible ways to do that particular thing in the language, I will Google, I'll go through Stack Overflow post, and that may take around 1 hour of my time. But if I use generative AI for the same thing, I can get the answer maybe within 5 to 6 minutes of time. Even I can get into a conversation mode, I can get multiple options within the same amount of time. Something that would have taken me hours because I would have to take something, experiment with it, and decide what is good for me. But with generative AI, I can just ask this question and it gives me a feeling that I am, in a conversation with someone. I'm trying to find what is the best way of doing that. And believe me, many a times I have experienced that the thing which I'm trying to do, the problem which I'm trying to solve, the complex code structures I'm trying to write, or the complex databases queries I am trying to write, used to took around 2, 3, 4, or maybe sometimes even the whole day, right? But with generative AIs, I can do this much faster. Not only much faster, much, much faster. I can experiment on a few things much faster. I can get all my test cases generated out of generative AI much, much faster. And I just need to write small pieces here and there. I need to correct a few things here and there, but I don't need to spend time on at least writing the test cases. And that I believe can help me to go from being a 1x to then sky is the limit. I can easily go to 5x to 10x, right? That's not a big deal for me right now. And that's not something too far fetched right now. Being 2 to 3x can be easily done by all the software developers out there. So your speed should be minimum 2 to 3 times faster than what you used to do with the availability of generative AIs. And beyond that, it's all depends upon how you use that, how you apply your own intelligence, and how you ask the right questions to the generative AIs. And that is how I see things going on in the near future. Of course, I don't know what is going to happen in the longer term. I'm not going to predict that also because I have no one to do that. But there is one thing I know that I can be a 10x developer with generative AIs. Try it out and see it yourself. I do hope and believe that you'll find that useful and you find this particular information useful. Thank you all. Thanks for watching. See you again.